Alrighty, guys. Hello and happy Monday. I hope that you're all doing well today and ready, starting out your week with a bang and got some orders coming your way. All the good jujus. And so today on building a team, I want to address the importance of meeting with your team. It sounds kind of obvious, but I know a lot of people don't have weekly meetings, or we have all the Thrive Army meetings, but if you don't get with your people in a closer knit space, whether that's chats, Zooms, or my preference with my team, we meet on Tuesday nights, and sometimes we have an important agenda. If there's a promo or something, we talk about that and make sure everybody understands. But we also just have a space that if people are struggling with certain things, we can all kind of collaborate and talk about it. What things that have worked for some may not work for others, and just kind of bouncing ideas around. But it's something that if and when we don't skip very often, but usually if life is happening or there's important meetings going on elsewhere, sometimes we skip, and inevitably we always wish we hadn't because we just miss that time together. So building a team, and we talked about knowing your people, but more importantly, having that close-knit connection with them. Having a space that is not just big Thrive Army, but more, not necessarily one-on-one. I mean, if it's only the two of you, then great. I personally believe you should be having one-on-one meetings with your people in some other space, whether chat or Zooms or stuff like that. But I absolutely cannot say enough how much having a team Zoom where it's just your small team come together, whether it's one upline with a few legs coming, or if you've got several legs underneath you, then having that time to just get together and talk and relate to one another. Even like I said, sometimes we have an agenda that's really important. We want to make sure we understand promos. We want to talk about our goals, our values, things like that, and kind of set up ourselves as well as the team in that time frame. But a lot of times we will hit whatever we want to discuss, and then we just kind of open it up, and we'll spend 10, 15, 20 minutes sometimes just talking about what's on our heart, how we're feeling. If somebody's struggling, they'll ask a question, and it just leads to healthy conversation. And I think that healthy conversation is ultimately where your team growth comes from. That's what digs those roots and grows the foundation of your team even more. So I wanted to share because I'm really excited for our team. I said, I mentioned they're on Tuesday nights. So tomorrow night, our team is coming together, and we're going to have a vision board reset, basically, because a lot of us have vision boards, or some of us haven't ever had one. But that's where we're going to open up just kind of hang out and build on Canva or build on poster board and cut out and just enjoy each other's company and talk about our goals, our dreams, our vision for this, and what we want to have happen for ourselves, for our families, and our team as a whole. So that's something that I cannot implore you enough to do if you have not, either personally or with your team, built a vision board. This is something that I always go back to. I have my old one saved as my lock screen on my phone. So I'll be updating that tomorrow. But just having it somewhere where you can see it, and remind yourself of your whys. Remind yourself what your goals are, what you're working for. I also have a thing on my desk here that says, remember what you want and push through the hard. And I've got in the center what my main goal is financially for myself and for my family. Because there's days where it just gets hard, and seeing that vision board, or seeing your setup, this is what you're doing this for. Having that reminder really will pull you back in. I can't say enough how many times I've looked over and said, you know what, you didn't want to sit down and do this, but you're going to sit down and do this because of that right there. So vision boards and getting together on smaller team Zooms is kind of my little tip for the day. I have some of my team on here, and I wouldn't mind if any of them want to say something about what gathering as a small team has done for them. Just because that third party validation, I can tell you all day long that meeting with your team and talking to your people is key, for growing the bonds and the relationship that you guys have. But if some of them wouldn't mind jumping in and talking about what, not even their downline, but sister legs and getting to know other people within our small team, what that's done for you guys. I don't know. I'm looking at a couple of you. Um, so if you feel like I'm targeting you, maybe I am. But I want to open the floor up for a little bit of feedback on that.
I mean, I feel like you're always targeting me. So, yeah, I mean, I just want to say that I'm not a huge people person, but the community is something that I've learned to love. Being able to get to know these women on a personal level, know what's going on in their lives, know how similar we all are in a lot of ways. It really just kind of breeds that safe space where we can be open with each other and where we can trust one another with the hard stuff and with the struggles. And I think that's super important because it's allowing you to realize, you know what, this isn't always going to be easy, and it's okay to push each other, and because we know what each other's goals are because we've made that space between each other, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. We talk about like, no trust with our customers, but there's absolutely a like, no trust within your teams. And that's something that, because we have that bond in our team chat, I know that if I can't be present to answer a question, or I don't, I miss something, I know that somebody else is going to step up and have their back. I don't have to worry about needing to be the one to answer all the questions, because I know that my people, my leaders within my own team, have the answers. They're there to support and help grow people, even if it doesn't affect their paychecks. And that's something that is so vital for having a healthy team. I can't say it enough. Like, I know Jordan's on here. Jordan and Casey are not anywhere in. They don't affect each other's pay. They don't affect each other's, QV or anything like that. But I know for a fact that they lean into each other. People stay for you. So when it's only chats, you don't really get to know everyone. So it's easy to dot, dot. It's easy to turn them off, and on the Zoom, you actually put faces to names. You get that emotional connection. Absolutely, Jordan. That's something that, we didn't start in the beginning, but once we started just seeing faces, even brand new people, it's so important. We talk about the family we have, but if you don't get together, it's, are you really validating that you have a family atmosphere? If you're just in the chats once, twice a week, do you really have that bond and connection, that some people need to keep them grounded in this? So it's like Jordan said, people stay for you. So if they don't have that foundation and that grounding, that they know they've got their, somebody's got their back in a hard time, are they going to stay? Do they have a reason to be invested in this when times are hard? I think that that's something that's just easily forgotten and lost. And, sometimes people feel like they don't have a big enough team to have something like that going for them. But again, when you get new people jumping in, big or small, even if it's 3 of you, that's something that validates that they've got people there to support them, even if it's not their upline. They've got somebody that's going to have their back. Another thing that is really cool is we just all had Palooza, and a lot of our team met each other for the first time. And because we do regular Zooms, because we're in the chats all the time, talking to one another, and sometimes there's a side conversation in it. It can get annoying. I'm not saying that you should be excited when it's all the side chatter, but when we all got together, it was like it wasn't the first time, and I know Emily met a ton of people for the first time when we got to Texas. And so I don't know if she wants to share how that was meeting others. Yeah, I'm calling you out. If she wants to share how that was for her, or anybody, even if this is relevant to your own team, but how cool it can be when you don't feel like you haven't physically met them, because you're talking face to face, because you're doing all the Zooms and in the chats carrying conversations. So, and do you want to share something with us about it?
Yeah, just piggybacking off of that. And I mean, you pretty much said it how I was going to say it, like being in the chats and interacting with your team or interacting with sister teams. I mean, when we did meet each other in Texas here, whoop, whoop, just for a little bit longer. But when we did meet each other, it literally just flowed and just felt like it was friends meeting up with friends instead of like strangers meeting each other for the first time. And we were able to literally just continue our Zooms in person and bounce things off of each other and just talk like we normally did on Zooms. There was no weird silence. There was no like, oh, I don't know if she's going to like me, because we already knew each other because we were on Zooms.
Yeah. I mean, our first night as for our team, we stayed separate from most of Thrive Army in a different hotel, but we literally just all piled up on the beds and hung out and talked for hours. Like it was, like you said, like it was nothing. So I cannot say enough how if you're not having those Zooms and you're not talking to your team in the chats or whatever even, and I know a lot of us suggest not having your own team chat until you get a little further involved and typically ranked, but not necessarily. If you've got a lot of people and it would be a good decision, maybe talk to your upline if that's a good decision for you or not. Just know your people and talk to them and know the ins and outs of their life. I know, like I said, previous Zooms here have been about knowing your people, but at the end of the day, that's what it always comes back to. You know, do you know your people? Do you know what tugs at their heart? Do you know their kids' names, their spouses' names? Do you know, what makes them tick and where their weaknesses are, where their strengths are? Because even just knowing weaknesses and strengths, if you're struggling and you know that that's a strength for somebody else, you can lean into that for advice or for help. I love one of the beautiful things about this is we're not only here for the income. I see you, Casey. We're not only here for the income, we're here to help each other. And whether that, like I said, if that affects your paycheck or not, this is something that is beautiful and I think sets us apart from other companies. Casey, what did you have to share?
I wanted to say, just because in terms of the business itself, when you're looking to grow, we're encouraged to do locals.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to show when you're doing these locals with your team to these people who are kind of on the outside looking in, wondering whether or not this is something that they want to enter into. They're going to be able to see that genuine relationship that you have with your team. They're going to be able to, if you're asking about the kids, calling each other's kids by names, like asking how husbands are doing and knowing the ins and outs of the family, it's going to be very obvious that this is a community, that this is a loving relationship that we all have with each other. And that only is going to appeal to this audience more if that's what they're looking for. You never know what someone's heart is open to. They may not be looking for a direct sales opportunity, but they may just genuinely join because they need a community and then fall in love with the business and become successful just based off of that. So just, build that relationship with each other, because that's only going to make it more welcoming of an environment for those new people coming in.
Absolutely. And you can't force people to want to be involved. You can't force people to open up about their lives or want that connection. What you can do is encourage it and let them know that you're here for them. But there are going to be inevitably there will be people that don't want that, at least in the beginning, even, until they start to see that it's a genuine connection. And I think that's where getting together with Zooms and having that family team relationship is important, because they may not be a Zoom person, but one Tuesday we might have a team member that's really struggling. If we can just say, hey, just get on this, just hop on the Zoom with us and hang out, talk to us and lean into the team, which is something I say more often than not, like just lean into the team when things are hard, lean in, we're here, we've got you. We do have faces that pop up randomly on team meetings, and it's exactly what they needed in their life that day. They just needed a sisterhood and somebody to say, we've got your back. you know, we understand that you're having a hard time and we're here for you. So absolutely knowing your team and knowing your people like that and getting together on those Zooms, I just can't say enough how valuable it is for creating a team atmosphere. Oh, you're good, Whitney, no worries. Yeah, so if you don't, I encourage you to do so with the Zooms, with just gathering together and getting to know each other on a personal level. So does anybody have questions about that?
Can I piggyback off of that just really quick?
Yeah.
I also think by doing the smaller team Zooms, because, you know, Thrive Army is so big, and by doing the smaller Zooms, you are able to kind of, how you said, you notice people popping in and out, but also you notice sometimes the ones that are constant, if they go a couple, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 Zooms without jumping on, that really alerts not only, you know, team leader, but also the rest of us, like reaching out and, hey, notice you haven't been on. Whereas if
Are
it's
you okay?
only,
Yeah.
and if it's only big Thrive Army, that may get lost and they may never really see you. So that's why I think, kind of how you said, it's really important to have those smaller teams. That way people can keep each other accountable, not only for the good, but also not so good.
Yeah, accountability for each other.
Mm-hmm. And it's something that, I mean, like you said, it could be the difference in somebody staying or leaving. I think Jordan said earlier, people stay for you. But I think more in depth, they stay for the team. They stay for the relationships sometimes when things are hard. We all inevitably will go through dry spells where we're not making sales and things are hard and we just want to quit. But if you know you've got people watching you and waiting, learning from you, wanting to see you stick it through, and you've got that relationship with them, it's going to help you keep you in the game when things are hard. I love my team so much. Like, I cannot imagine quitting on them or anything like that. And there are plenty of times that they are what keep me mentally in the game. You know, I do it for them. I do it for my family and for myself too, but so many times, because we have that relationship, you know, I show up for them, and that they're part of my why now. That's something that I was not expecting when I joined. I wasn't looking for a team. I wasn't looking for being a leader. I didn't want any of that. I wanted $100 a month, and I just wanted to make, you know, small changes for my family, be able to shop on Amazon without feeling guilty. But gaining all of that is far more valuable than the monetary that you seek. So if you're not investing in your team, whether up or down, I strongly encourage you to talk to your upline about having a team meeting or establish one for yourself. Even if it's just a get together, you know, you don't want to call it necessarily a team meeting if you just want to gather together and talk. I think that creates a safe space that it also gives you that buy-in and that friend connection that a lot of us need from this when we're stuck at home. You know, either we're mamas with the kids at home, or we're working from home and we're not really getting adult interaction, or just, you know, day to day, just having that support. So I hope that helped. I know that it's not something that's super, super common, and it may feel weird at first, but the more you do it, the more you'll grow to love it and appreciate it. So if nobody has any questions, then I will go ahead and close it up. Next week, Casey is going to come back and share for me. I have an appointment at this time, so she's going to help me out with that. But I love you guys, and I appreciate you all jumping on. And this was up on the YouTube live, so if you need to share it with anyone, feel free to do so. But I appreciate all of you, and thank you for taking time out of your day